Well, good morning and welcome back to my allotment. And it's been 2 weeks since I posted a video, and this is my 100th video post. Well, I'm pleased to make that landmark, and I thought about, doing all sorts of different things, and people have come up with things, and I'm just not that person, so I'm doing nothing special. But we're back from a week in Snowdonia National Park. If you live in the UK, can I just say, if you have not been to Snowdonia, you must get there. It's one of those places in the United Kingdom you must go. It is without doubt the most stunning part of the UK, and I say that reservedly because I love the Highlands, I love Dartmoor, I love the New Forest. We have, just generally our countryside is beautiful and stunning. But Snowdonia, just driving from A to B, is jaw-droppingly beautiful. Anyway, we had a wonderful week. For once, the weather gods were with us. In fact, if I was being picky, it was too hot. But anyway, what a lovely problem to have. And today, I got up at 4 o'clock because I was keen to get up here after a week away. And it was 19 degrees on the car thermometer when I got in the cab at about 20 past 4. And it's sweltering now, and it's nearly 5:30. Oddly, I got here today and I did ask John just to look after a couple of things, cut the courgettes off the plants, otherwise, it stops producing and I just get monsters, which he has very kindly done. There was a couple of things I'd liked him to water, and he has done, so thank you to John. But there's a couple of odd things. There's a hose, there's a garden hose lying right up the length of my plot, and I can see some of it's been watered. I can only guess that Les has attached a hose to his standpipe and watered my plot for me. It's people nice. People are nice. And the other thing that's odd is the table, the picnic table I've got just off the back of the plot, has been moved. Now that is odd. Anyway, I'm sure when John arrives, if he comes today, or if he comes tomorrow, whenever, I'll find out why my table's been moved. But yeah, it's strange. So I'm going to show you a few clips of our Snowdonia trip, and then we'll have a look at the plot. Welcome to Snowdonia National Park. today we're taking on Snowdon via the Watkin Path, which this sign tells us is the first ever designated footpath in the UK, opened in 1892 by a man called Watkin, and it's the longest route up Snowdon. Aren't we happy about that, Cheryl?
Yay.
Let's go. We've reached the ridge line, which means we can see down to the other routes up. Stunning. This is a killer of a route. Up in the clouds. And back down to the bottom. We've walked from sight today. Yes, the navigator knows which way to go. We're going to what's marked on the map as a waterfall. Instead of walking up the mountains, they are our view. I think Cheryl's happier about that. It's a stunning gorge. Cheers. Here's to a wonderful holiday. Oh, that's hot. Perfect lunch spot. Right, well that's lunch over. A little bit more to do on the walk, but it's our final day. Yeah.
Facing the wrong way.
So back to the allotment. Well, as the sun rises at 5:25, while there's almost no wind, well there isn't really any wind, let's have a look around. Now, bear in mind I haven't been here for 8 days. Things have got a little unkept and I apologise for that. However, I'm not, you know, today I hope Cheryl's coming up about lunchtime. Firstly because I haven't got a lunch, and secondly because there's so much needs picking. Starting with this blackberry Reuben, which looks fantastic, and there's new growth aplenty. There's work to be done on the gooseberries. They're looking a little bit dry. The pond is vastly overgrown, but I'm not going to worry about it. This bed with my remaining garlic looks a bit ragged. Oddly, I don't seem to have any strawberries. Maybe John's been helping himself, I don't know. Anyway, what I do have is lots and lots of blueberries. A lot of picking to be done there. And the spinach. And I looked on YouTube, oddly this morning before I left home at 4 o'clock. And it was an American lady talking about how to put spinach in a blender with water, whiz it into a liquid, and then freeze it in ice cubes for use later. And I've been a bit worried this year. You can see how much the perpetual spinach is blossoming. And there's my new kiwi plant next to it. And so I think that's what I'll do. I'll speak to Cheryl about doing that and preserving some of that spinach that we just can't use at the rate it grows. And despite John very kindly picking off courgettes, I've got some more monsters there, but there you go. The broad beans look blimmin' awful, if I'm honest, but we've had a fantastic harvest off them, and I don't know what's depleted the leaves. Maybe that's just natural as they die back, I don't know, but it's all very ragged, it's full of weeds. I might just have to bite the bullet and dig them out. The beetroot's looking good. Oh yes, and Cheryl's got an awful lot of black currants to pick. Butternuts over there, potatoes, more brassicas, my second sowing of brassicas, and these sweet peas, that just looks fantastic. And then here are the Tromboncini courgettes, which John has been very kindly weaving up my arch, and I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, look there is one of the courgettes. I just love the shape of them. Anyway, for the first time ever, some of my leeks have bolted. I'm sure that's just due to weather conditions I don't understand, but that bed of onions looks fantastic, and I'm looking constantly on a daily basis when I'm here for any signs of bolting, but so far so good. The pumpkin plot is coming on apace, and I got here this morning and was truly pleasantly shocked to see the size. I've got a couple of those growing, absolute monsters. And then the pea alderman, this second rack is looking good for some picking. And then these are the butternut mashed potato. The plants are developing well, but there's no fruit on them yet. A little bit of training to be done with the runner beans St. George. And you can see how this first pickings of alderman pea have now gone over and are pretty much run to seed. which I think I'll collect. I have some monstrous sunflowers, and the tomatoes are looking good. I thought I'd have some ripe tomatoes when I got back, but I don't. And then over this side, these onions, which are absolutely huge, are all flopping over and are pretty much ready to harvest. So as it's a nice dry sunny day, I might just dig those out and start the drying process. The parsnips look fantastic, as does this josterberry. I think I need to get some of those nettles out before I start picking, but I'm going to have some of them off today. The rhubarb looks fantastic. We did have heavy rain last weekend after we left. The first 2 days of our Snowdonia trip were very, very wet. The remainder of the week was very, very hot. So I think that rhubarb has benefited from that heavy rain we had last weekend. And here's another odd thing. I don't know what that wing is off. Something's bit the dust while I've been away. So anyway, yeah, and you can see this hose lying here. But, you know, I've been away for 8 days, and, you know, there's some weeds growing in the paths, and some of the butternuts have escaped from their beds. But, you know, there's nothing here that can't be tidied, cut back, weeded, hoed, and harvested. In my quest to bring you interesting and slightly different facts, I've got this book. I took it with me to Snowdonia, Reader's Digest, How Was It Done? And I'd just like to read this little passage, and it sort of links in with the stuff I do about where the origin of phrases comes from. So, Franz Mesmer gravely considered the case of a most puzzling patient, a young woman. She suffered from what he called hysterical fever, causing convulsions, vomiting, fainting, temporary blindness, attacks of paralysis and other terrible symptoms. I don't know why I'm laughing. The symptoms, which came and went like the tides, were instrumental in giving Mesmer the idea of treating Francisca with magnets, which generated their own ebb and flow. At the time, 1774, the medical use of magnets to draw out sickness was already being practiced by some European doctors. Anyway, it goes on and on about how he did this, and apparently she was cured. And he moved to Paris and set up a clinic, and society ladies were drawn to him, and magnetism. And he claimed to be able to cure all sorts of illnesses with the use of magnets, which he placed on these ladies' bodies. All sounds a little bit dubious to me, but ladies were drawn to him, and the term mesmerised came from the male allure that he seemed to have. So yeah, when you say, oh, I'm mesmerised by something, that's where it comes from. Dr. Mesmer in 1774. Quite interesting. Well, please excuse the Bill and Ben hat. I bought it in the garden centre at Bodmin Garden on our week away, and I've had an old hat up the allotment for, well, ever since I've been here, but it's tatty. I bought it for canoeing about 15 years ago, and it's fallen apart. And if you're on the allotment, you know, you'll know you've got to have some protection. I've got no hair, so I need something to keep the sun off my head. And she says, you can have it as long as it's only up the allotment. So, yeah, I think it's rather chic. I've never been a fashionable person. I remember when we were courting, Cheryl used to laugh at what I wore then. Anyway, I digress. I just thought I'd mention, I said in one of my previous videos that June is the month when everything calms down, everything's planted, your second sowings have been made, and you're just waiting for things to crop. and that's probably true. The trouble is when you go away for a week, if you've got an allotment or a kitchen garden, you'll know this, that going away for a week is a long time on an allotment in the summer, in July. And you pay a price, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy to pay the price, but the price is that when you get here, you've lost certain things. A lot of my raspberries are all soft, and they've gone over. I've lost quite a lot of the alderman peas, and I can live with it. But so far we've been cropping courgettes, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, peas. We've frozen a lot of peas already. I've already had my first picking of French beans. I've had an onion. We've used an onion. I'm sure I've missed something, but so far, I don't want to tempt fate. Oh, new potatoes. We've had 3 or 4 of these tubs from the garden. All my new potatoes were in the garden at home. We've already harvested half of those, and lots and lots of salad crops, radish, lettuce, and spring onions. We're having a good year, and black currants, and Cheryl hopefully is coming up again today, and she'll spend a good couple, maybe more hours sitting picking black currants. She has the patience of a saint. I do sort of 20 minutes, half an hour of one job, and I've had enough. Anyway, so I just thought I'd say that this is my 5th year on these 2 plots, and it's without doubt, as far as harvesting is concerned, definitely my best year. And some years things work better than others. For example, we stopped growing sweet corn because the rodents, I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing it was rats, were eating it before I could pick it. So yeah, so far it's setting up to be a good year. I've just had a look around all the butternuts. I don't have any fruit on the butternuts yet, which is a bit odd, but I know they take a long time to bulk up the plant itself, so I'm not too worried yet. And then each year I try something different. I'm not a fan of it because we grow what we like, but this is my effort this year. I think I might pick one now, actually, have a look at it. They grow to up to 1 metre long, and I might do that with a couple if I get some high up, just for the spectacle of it. But yeah, it's been a good year so far. Without doubt, it's looking to be my best, and it's a busy time. Lots to crop, or lots to pick, because if you don't pick it and use it and you lose it, then you've wasted all your efforts. So a massive amount of effort is going in at home in the evenings with Cheryl and I, blanching, storing, picking, cut. You pick a few punnets of gooseberries and then you've got to top and tail them, and sometimes you do wonder if it ain't easy just to go down Tesco's, and then you remind yourself why you do it when you taste it. Anyway, it's enough waffle. I think I might pick a tromboncini. Now, what's not to love about that? Fantastic. Oh, all that effort's worthwhile when you pick something as ooh-ah as that. Fantastic. It's a few weeks now, in fact, with this Nettle Fertilizer, it's well over a month, probably 6 weeks since I made the fertilizer from nettles. And as you can see, I haven't got a lid for one of them, so I've covered it in a dustbin lid, but it's got things growing on it. That's a good sign for a fertilizer. I've got 3 tubs there. I've strained off the nettles and they're now in the compost heap. And the nettle tea is good for leaf growth, so I'm going to use some of that today on my cabbages and other brassicas. So that's what I've got from from that. It's not a massive amount, but you know, it'll make a difference. And then moving over to the comfrey fertilizer, that needs straining off hopefully today, and just leaving the liquid. And actually, as I stand here, I can't smell anything, but then I have got a poor sense of smell. So that's the comfrey, which is good for fruit setting. But if you remember, Bridget recommended going without the smell, so this was just loaded. Wow. So that was right up to the brim, and I put those rocks on top just to push it down. And I don't know if I can get this out to show you. There, see? I'm not going to force it out because I'll spill it. But that's the concentrate. So, you know, I've just left that in that drum. Fertilizer for free. No need to go to the garden centre and spend money. So clearly, you know, the equipment I'm using is not the best. I need some more containers to seal this fertilizer in once I've made it. But that's my first attempt, first year I've done it, and I'm very happy with the results. It proves it can be done. I just need to get hold of some better containers for next year's attempt, but I'm very happy with that. This is the bed of dwarf French beans, and as I said at the beginning, you know, because I've been away for 8 days, things aren't quite as they should be, so there's a few weeds and so on in there. But you know, if you ignore that, it doesn't make any difference to the crop really. I've got some really good looking French beans there. I think what I might do is, I've got another day up the allotment tomorrow, unusually, and tomorrow being the 19th, this ridiculously named Freedom Day, I'm going to make a point, because we live in Wales, but the allotment is in England, and the farm shop is in England. So tomorrow, I'm going down the farm shop to take them some French beans, and I won't have to put a stupid muzzle on my face. So I'm rather looking forward to that. Well, here's something interesting for me to think about. I've just pulled out this last of my garlic crop, which is okay. They're a bit smaller than the previous lot, but most acceptable. But I was pulling them out from in amongst these weeds. This deluge of weeds sat there is where I poured the remaining of the manure runoff. So where the big manure pile was last year in the winter, where I dug a hole and I collected it in a sump and I put it in that metal barrel, and I used it to water the crops. And there was some sludge left in the bottom, which I poured onto this bed, exactly where that big dollop of weeds are. So that tells me, if I didn't already know it, that that manure is full of weed seeds. So that's me and the manure finished, unless I'm burying it deep in the beds like I've done in the past, under the soil where it can't germinate. But that's exactly where I dropped it. Interesting. Let the Bosch take the strain. Lovely. Well, it's about 3 o'clock. I've just made us a coffee and the picking machine keeps going. She wants to do another punnet. However, personally, I'm very happy with what we've got. So that's another picking of peas, and there's a recipe for pea soup from the Grow Your Own magazine, which is quite good. It's got onion and potato in it, and of course I grow those, so we thought we'd give that a go. So I've cut that out of the magazine. if you could smell the sweet peas, it's stunning. And then some courgette. God only knows what Cheryl's going to do with that lot. And then black currants, gooseberries, jostaberries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, more black currants, another picking of broad beans, some more sweet peas, and the first pickings of beetroot, which Cheryl will cook tonight. So yeah, very good. Very happy with that. I'm calling that a day. That was my 100th episode. I hope you enjoyed some of it, if not all of it. We had a wonderful week in Snowdonia, but I'm in a no-lose situation because I love being back on the plot, especially when Cheryl joins me, and we've had a good afternoon. The heat is stifling. It affects my voice for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I am cream crackered. So we're going to call it, well, I'm calling it quits. She just keeps going. But we're going to drink our coffee and go home. So thanks for joining me. It's quite remarkable that my wife, this is my 100th episode and she's never watched a single one. She's nothing if not consistent. Thanks a lot. Take care and see you soon. Bye for now.